Hi, it's Amy, your TA for the course, and this is the second visual expression module. We hope that these modules continue to increase your visual expression skills. This module will teach you the basics of orthographic projection and cross sections. Since part of drawing is actually seeing and observing, we're going to show you how to look at an object in different ways. Our goals of this module are to express a 3D image in 2D using orthographic projection, and 2, to visualize the cross-section of an object and draw it. So what exactly is orthographic projection? Orthographic projections are 2D drawings which are flattened views of your 3D object. Let's look at an example. This is Design Within Reach's Antica armchair. On their website, they show the beautiful perspective chair which you see on the left. On the right, they show 3 line drawing views of the chair. This is orthographic projection. These are drawn in 2 dimensions, and in this case with computer-aided design or CAD. You can see how these views are necessary so that I can see all sides of the chair. Often this is done to show the dimensions of an object, and in this case they're in inches, which is customary in the US, but not everywhere. Now I have all the information I need in seeing these 3 views. In reality, there are 6 orthographic views of any 3D object: front, side A, side B, top, bottom, and rear view, which is not shown. You can see that the depth of the chair would be impossible to see without the side view. Now, if I were to purchase this chair, I would know how far it would stick out from the wall and how comfortable it might be to sit in. Most of the time, 2 to 3 views are necessary. Typically, the top, front, and side view will unambiguously describe the object. Let's look again at the 3 most common views with the photographs next to the drawings. Take some time to study how we get from the chair to the drawings. Also, these are laid out on the page in the conventional way. The top view is on the top of the front. Think of tilting the chair forward so that you could see the top of the chair. The right view is usually placed to the right of the front view. Think about flipping the chair 90 degrees horizontally to get that view. And notice how you can see the cushion specifically illustrated. In the case of a t-shirt, only 2 views would be necessary because it's essentially a 2D object. So why would we use this? Orthographic projections are much easier than drawing an object in 3D or perspective, which we'll be doing in later modules. You can represent the object clearly by only drawing in 2D, and it's faster. The reason that sketching, particularly 2 to 3 views, is important is that you may be describing a chair that you picture. For example, you might say the chair back is square with rounded edges. And someone might picture this. Someone else might picture this. So as you can see, this is open to a lot of interpretation unless I draw what I mean to express. So how do we do this? Let's start with something basic, like this cube. Imagine placing this cube on a table. Bend down and look at the front of the cube. You see a square. Bend over the cube and look down at it from the top. You see another square. Now walk around to the side of the cube. Again, you see a square. To illustrate the point more clearly, let's take a shape that's a rectangular box. Imagine that we open up the top and the side. That's what orthographic projection means. Essentially, the lines of projection are perpendicular to the drawing surface. So we're imagining the top of the box is folded toward us and the side is folded toward us. The resulting orthographic view of the top would look like this. The side would look like this, and the front would look like this. This is what the finished drawing would look like. As you can see, the 3 views are flattened out. They're no longer in perspective. So essentially you see rectangles and a square. Let's look at a real-world object. A toaster oven is a rectangular shape. And think about how different views are from the front, top, and side, and that we would need to show the details, such as the air vent placement on the side and on the top. And without multiple views, we wouldn't get this information. So let's revisit our Antica chair. Now remember, this photograph of the chair is still showing some perspective. You need to flatten out how this chair would look from direct on. I'm going to draw myself a box around the chair with the right proportions. Then I'll copy that box to draw my sketch. You want to make sure your proportions and your viewpoint is correct. And to do this, I'll actually draw myself some guidelines in pencil. This is a good drawing technique to make sure everything is aligned as it should be. To do the side of the chair, as you notice, the box is wider because the side of the chair is the depth, and that would look something like this. And as you notice, the top of the chair stays aligned because I'm simply rotating the chair. Notice that for the top view, the width is the same as the front view. Imagine tilting the chair forward and you would see the top view. The depth is the same as in the side view. When you copy the box over, again, keep the same proportions. Now that we have the three boxes, think about how you might place them on a page. This is called composition. Fill the frame and ensure you have a balanced drawing, but this doesn't necessarily mean symmetrical. Don't forget to leave room for labeling the drawing, dimensions, or annotations, and you can use your name or a description of drawing to fill the blank spaces. You will probably have to try multiple compositions, and you should figure this out before you do your final drawing. So, take a new sheet, tape the two together with masking tape, and sketch the chair without the boxes. Use a dark pen or marker to go over it. Think about how someone will view your drawing and how you are directing their eye, from left to right or up and down, and for different cultures this may vary. You also need to think about the order in which you place them. It seems to me more clear to show the front view first. Remember, every decision you make is a design decision, and that goes for everything about your visual expression. So, what is a cross-section? Now that you can see all external views of a 3D object, there's still one piece of information that could be missing. Suppose someone offered you this yummy treat. But suppose you bit into it and there was strawberry jam and you're allergic to strawberries. You'd need to know what's inside, and it's impossible to tell that from any external views. Now, let's take a classic section example by looking at this artist's rendering of a house. You can see how we would represent the orthographic views, and that will give us a lot of information. But for example, we wouldn't know whether there are stairs, an elevator, or ramps inside. If we were to take a slice off the front of the house and look directly into it, we can now see the internal information. The dark black lines represent where the house was essentially cut open so that we could look inside. It's easy to see that without the cross section, we would not know there were any stairs and the placement of them. Sections can be cut horizontally or vertically in any part of the 3D object. Think about slicing it, opening up, and what you see. You may need a cross-section to show that an object is hollow, like a table tennis ball, or that it has a filling, like our jelly donut. Here's a more formal section drawing, just so you get an idea. This is a typical of the type of engineering or architectural drawing you would need if this house were to actually be built, but don't worry, we won't be doing anything like this. Here's another example of a section sketch that was probably used early on in the design stage. As you can see, it's simple but beautiful. It also relays the information we need to relay. And notice how there is a mere outline of trees, but we know they're trees because of the general shape and scale. Sometimes these details can help put your drawing in context, but at the same time, don't add things that don't have a purpose, and we don't expect you to. Now let's do a cross-section of our chair. Suppose we look at the top view, we'd be cutting through the middle of the chair here. Essentially, we'd be slicing from left to right. If we split apart the chair, this is the view we'd be looking at, and this would be the resulting sketch. Now I can see the springs and the foam and the cushion. I may be trying to show how the cushion is constructed. Notice how I only see two of the legs of the chairs because I'm only looking at this part of the chair. I would not have been able to see this with orthographic projection alone, but it's still a 2D drawing. A common convention is to use this technique called hatching or cross-hatching, and that shows essentially where we sliced the chair. You can also cut through the chair vertically from top to bottom on the perpendicular axis from the last one we showed you. This would show you the internals of the chair from this perspective, and the sketch would look something like this. We can also slice the chair in half horizontally, and this would be the resulting section. Okay, it's your turn. This is the assignment for Visual Expression 2, which is also posted on the syllabus. You can draw any type of chair you like, pick something interesting but simple. Draw 3 orthographic projections, views of a chair, any chair. Then draw a cross-section of your chair and neatly label it. You may stop the assignment now or continue watching for a sketching demonstration.